Right now at 6, a high school principal accused of failing to protect her students appears in court to answer to criminal charges.
Your Honor, we'd like to enter at this point in time a not guilty plea.
Plus, bomb threats target President-elect Trump's cabinet nominees, including the Oregon Congresswoman picked to be the next Labor Secretary. Then, why did Multnomah County deny a request for funds to expand Oregon's largest homeless shelter?
We are the help. Why can't we be in that conversation?
And clear skies and falling gas prices fuel the Thanksgiving rush.
This is the biggest travel number we've ever seen for Thanksgiving.
How to time your travel to avoid everyone else.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. We begin with the growing sex abuse scandal in the St. Helens School District and a high school principal who turned herself in after she was criminally charged with not reporting the suspected abuse. Let's go right to Celine Stevens live at the Columbia County Courthouse where Katie Wagner made her first appearance. Celine?
David, so Wagner is facing 6 charges with 2 of them being felonies. Now, this follows detectives discovering that critical mandatory reports related to that teacher's sex abuse were not completed. So Wagner appeared in court today after posting bail, and she pled not guilty. Wednesday morning, St. Helens High School principal Katie Wagner turned herself into the Columbia County Sheriff's Office after being indicted by the county grand jury Tuesday.
I think it should happen sooner.
Wednesday afternoon, Wagner maintained her innocence in the courtroom.
Your Honor, we'd like to enter at this point in time a not guilty plea, set this matter for a pretrial.
Wagner faces 4 misdemeanors and 2 felonies. Those include accusations that she unlawfully and knowingly withheld necessary physical care for the students at the school, according to the indictment. She was already on paid administrative leave. This came shortly after 2 teachers were arrested, accused of sexually abusing students. That includes choir teacher Eric Stearns. One parent says her daughter was in Stearns' class and he would often ask to hug her, give her prolonged hugs, and share personal information. She says her daughter reported it, but nothing happened.
She just said that Wagner literally said absolutely nothing, didn't even say a word, and then just kind of said, get to class.
The attorney with the DA's office requested that Wagner will not have any contact with the 2 arrested teachers, the alleged victims or their families, and she is prohibited from employment at any educational setting or one that requires mandatory reporting.
Lock her up.
My hope is that she goes to prison for her crimes, that she goes to prison for what she knew and didn't stop.
The judge says Wagner's next court date will be on January 22nd. Now, the school district told me in a statement today that they're launching a third-party investigation into what happened and why, and are looking to quickly appoint a new acting principal. David?
Celine Stevens with the update in St. Helens. Thank you, Celine. Developing this evening, federal authorities are investigating threats made against several of President-elect Trump's cabinet picks, including Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez-DeRemer. John Adams is in the newsroom with those details. John?
Well, David, according to a post made by Chavez-DeRemer earlier today, she and her family were targeted by a bomb threat at their Clackamas County home on Tuesday night.
In that statement, Chavez-DeRemer thanked the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office for their quick response that she credits for keeping her family safe. The statement goes on to say, "This kind of violence harms not just the intended targets, but entire communities. It is an unacceptable way to express opposition and will not deter President Trump and the team he has assembled from doing the work on behalf of the American people." The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office confirmed the threats against Chavez-DeRemer and say the FBI is now investigating. Numerous other members of the Trump transition team also received threats between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, including Elise Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, Brooke Rollins, and Matt Gaetz. NBC News is reporting that these threats were hoaxes and no actual bombs have been found. The FBI says they are aware of the threats and encourage the public to report anything suspicious to law enforcement.
Senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News that the threats did not involve people under Secret Service protection like J.D. Vance or President-elect Trump. We will continue to monitor this story and bring you any updates as we get them. David?
Yeah, glad to hear those threats were not credible in the end. Thank you, John. In your headlines, a Gladstone man is behind bars and facing murder charges in the death of his mother. Police say they responded to a home on Carson Road around 6:30 last night to do a welfare check on Rosa Leyva, Authorities say they were met at the door by Leva's son, identified as Ronald Kirk, who also lives there. Based on their interaction with him, officers say they entered the home and found Leva dead. Kirk was arrested and taken to the Clackamas County Jail. Police have not said how Leva died, and their investigation is ongoing. Authorities in Yamhill County are investigating the deaths of two men whose bodies were found in a submerged vehicle in the Willamette. The families of 40-year-old Benigno Hermenegildo Pascuala and 39-year-old Eufrasio Lopez de Jesus told police they lost the men Sunday night having a heated argument. Police tracked their cell phones to the Rogers Landing area in Newbury, and on Tuesday found an oil sheen on the water near the boat launch. Authorities used an underwater camera to find a vehicle with the two men deceased inside. Clackamas County deputies have arrested a man they say kidnapped an 11-year-old girl. The girl telling police she was walking outside an apartment complex in the Jennings Lodge neighborhood around 2 a.m. on Monday when the man picked her up, forced her into his truck, and then drove away. She was able to escape and run home. Deputies found the truck and arrested 47-year-old Felipe Martinez of Milwaukee. He's charged with kidnapping and harassment. And it appears Oregon Democrats have clinched a supermajority in Salem after flipping a Marion County House seat by a razor-thin margin. The Oregonian projecting House District 22 for Democrat Leslie Munoz. She now leads incumbent Republican Tracy Kramer by 161 votes after yesterday's deadline for ballot signature verification passed. That is outside the 0.2% margin that would require an automatic recount. Anyone can request a recount, though that would come at their expense. Matt?
All right, David, we had some clearing late this afternoon over the Portland area and over parts of the valley. A little bit of clearing as you look out from our Rose City sky cam, 47 degrees. But now that the sun has gone down, the fog and low clouds will fill in very quickly here in the Willamette Valley. Visibility already down to 3 miles in Salem. It hasn't really thickened up too much yet, but it will up and down the I-5 corridor as we go through the nighttime hours and the air mass continues to cool. Meanwhile, nationally, a lot of people traveling all around the country today. This storm developing in the Mississippi River Valley, Ohio River valleys, moves into the northeast and becomes a nor'easter over the weekend, actually tomorrow. But right now, all the major airlines not reporting any big delays. So far, the travel day has been pretty smooth around the country. Now, you mentioned the fog and low clouds we have here in the valley. That'll thicken up and it's going to be with us for several days. So we have an air stagnation advisory as our air quality deteriorates with the fog, low clouds, and everything else we put in the air staying put for a while. So we'll have the overnight valley fog and low clouds. Gray mornings through Black Friday, but I think over the weekend we'll begin to pick up an east wind and clear that out. And in the meantime, beautiful weather at the coast and up in the Cascades. David?
Yeah, can't argue with the sunshine. Thank you, Matt. Oh yes, it is the season for holiday traffic. Right now you're looking at live cameras from I-5, 205, 84, and 26. Most of it moving okay. The busiest throughout the evening has been I-5 just north and south of downtown Portland, though the backups have been fairly typical of a weekday evening and no major crashes have been reported. Libby Dowsett's live tonight along I-405. Libby, sounds like things should lighten up from here on out.
It is lightening up. It's really nice right along here, right in the center of downtown. Even though AAA predicts there will be records broken on the road, at the airports, even on cruise ships. They say this could be the biggest number of travelers for a Thanksgiving they've seen yet. Transportation data tracker INRIX predicts travel will be light tomorrow, but it will be pretty heavy Sunday between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. The drive-in from Hood River is also predicted to be slow that evening. AAA says gas prices are lower than last year, but they are inching up each day.
Oh man, I'm barely surviving with the gas prices right now. I'm a single mom of 3 boys, so honestly, it's ridiculous with inflation and how much groceries are.
There's a lot of nice drivers out here, so that's what matters. You know, people are very considerate of letting you in and understanding that you got to get over it.
Well, as for the airport, we talked to people who were surprised that lines weren't as long as they expected, but it's still supposed to be a record number of air travelers as well this holiday. AAA expects the biggest crowds at PDX Sunday. But as for out here along I-405, smooth sailing. Back to you, David.
Hey, we'll go with beating out expectations on all fronts. Libby Dowsett there. Happy Thanksgiving, Libby. Hey, if you need to get out of the house for some fresh air, maybe get away from company, walk off Thanksgiving dinner, you can do that for free on Friday at Oregon State Parks. All day use parking fees will be waived at state parks for Green Friday. Love that, except for Falls Creek and Nehalem Bay, which are closed for construction. Metro Parks will also be waiving parking fees system-wide on Friday at any location that normally requires them, including beaches and boat ramps.